Hello and good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Blue Knight 7 with the Blue Knight Cast, episode 35. And today I wanted to talk about the recent news with the shakeup in Xbox management and ask, what does this really mean for Xbox? If you followed any video gaming news at all over the weekend, you're probably very much aware that Phil Spencer, Xbox president Phil Spencer, announced his retirement. Vice president under him, Sarah Bond, resigned. And Matt Booty, yes, the same Matt Booty you've heard so many jokes about, that has been the butt of so many jokes, Matt Booty, has been promoted to chief of content, or chief content officer, I believe. We also have a new Xbox president by name of Asha Sharma, who is not really experienced in the video gaming industry, but is experienced in developing and scaling AI platforms for Microsoft. So this was very much a promotion for her as well. There's been a lot of discourse over this topic, for sure. And most of it hasn't been good. And I wanted to go through my analysis of that today and what I think a lot of this will mean for Xbox going forward. I should probably preface it all by saying I'm not an Xbox gamer. I am a PC gamer who has bought and played Xbox Studios or Microsoft Studios games. Probably the most, if I was to pick a favorite out of their recent work, and when I say recent, I'm going back to Xbox One, it would be their revival of Killer Instinct. I wish they would do more with it. And yeah, as a Nintendo and PC gamer, I would buy some random Xbox games, Psychonauts 2, for example. Particularly interested in Forza Horizon 6, the new one for Japan they announced. Like, I actually thought about getting that one. Indiana Jones is something I've had on my Steam wish list. I just hadn't bit the bullet to buy it. Bethesda games, yes, I have those. Blizzard games under Activision, which they acquired, yes, those. So I would say this impacts me, maybe not as much as some people, but it impacts me. If you've been following my content, you know I recently got back into Overwatch because of their sort of mini revival going on right now with Blizzard. So I'm taking interest in what's going on here. Really am. And I do have my own concerns about what's going on here, but unfortunately, a lot of this is going to be time will tell. But to get into it here, there was announcements late last week where Phil Spencer announced his retirement. Sarah Bond is resigning. They've made some statements that are, but I'm not going to bother to repeat them here because to me they're just corporate PR speak and don't really say a lot. Asha Sharma has made her own statements, and just to characterize, it sounds like she wishes to respect the fact that human interaction makes good stories in games, and she does not intend to try to hurt the quality of gaming with AI. Doesn't really say what she will do or not do with AI, but is going to really respect that element and work to bring Xbox back. So I'll give her credit in her language for saying she realizes Xbox is not in the best place now, and they aren't. Xbox Series, it has lost this generation for sales. It's never coming back. It had a Christmas holiday season where I forget the name of it, but that little blue and yellow, green, yellow playground, I think it's called box, outsold the Xbox Series units last holiday. Which is kind of ironic in itself and poetic, just because it has basically Kinect-like technology that people did not want hardwired in the Xbox One. They did not want to be spied on with cameras. Not really a fan of the Xbox One, but it was probably ahead of its time in a lot of ways. But anyway, the problem is we really didn't want the things we have in the time we have now, right? But with her being replaced, there has been, with Phil Spencer being replaced, with Sarah Bond leaving, there has been some rumblings that one of those, it's sort of in the cannot confirm or deny department, but it's sort of a why would they come out with this right now and it not be true, like why would they lie kind of moments. But Greg Miller, kind of known with the Kind of Funny channel project that he runs, did say recently that, quote, "I've been passed something that again reiterates to me I'm not going to read it. This was not planned." As in, Phil Spencer's planned retirement was not planned. It was more of a forced retirement. He was basically told, "You're leaving. We'll call it a retirement, but you're leaving." And it's one of them things, Greg Miller is a very connected individual in the games industry. Associate him a little more with PlayStation, but still, it's one of those why would he lie kind of moments to put that out there, because it's definitely generated some talk. Also, and this is basically reporting from The Verge, Stealth 40K posted relevant quotes up on X. I just didn't want to have to deal with paywall and such. But Stealth's words, "There's a lot to blame to go around for the recent failings of Xbox. It shouldn't all be placed at the feet of Sarah Bond." And I'll agree with that in a minute. But the quote from the Verge article is, "Most of the current and former Xbox employees I've spoken to in recent days are relieved that Bond is leaving Microsoft. I've heard from multiple sources that Bond has been tough to work with and built a team structure that meant if you didn't follow the vision or questioned it, you were out. Most have praised her ability to strike partnerships with companies and developers, though." And then moving on, "I understand that Bond's strategy had been failing internally and been questioned multiple times. Bond had tried to push mobile and cloud over console to reach potentially millions more Xbox customers. But the result has been a classic case of chasing tomorrow's customers by neglecting today's." Okay, that's pretty loaded. And I'll say I partially agree with some of what was said there. But I don't think you can really blame one person, and it feels like you have Greg Miller on one side saying higher ups basically told Phil he was going to go. Sarah Bond resigns, so she did it by her choice. And then you have a Verge report, like sources from Microsoft to The Verge saying, yeah, she was real hard to work with. We're glad she's gone. let's get this out the door. We don't really know what happened. We don't. We may find out later, but we really don't know what all discussions have been going on behind closed doors. I'm saying for this, I'm saying for the last couple of years. What we do know is there's been a lot of inconsistency in the leadership and how they've handled the Xbox brand. There's been a lot of, we're just doing this and drawing a line, and then they go beyond, and then they admit later, yeah, we had to. There's been a lot of that. I'm talking in particular about console exclusives no longer being console exclusives. Halo campaign evolved coming to PS5, that kind of thing. It's still hard to believe. It really is hard to believe. And Doom the Dark Ages is one thing. Halo Combat Evolved is different. I mean, that's how I see a lot of that. And Indiana Jones, I could kind of see an argument for that one. But we're now in this state where, to go along with the ad campaign that's generally associated with Sarah Bond, everything is an Xbox. Pushing, the cloud, mobile gaming, streaming, the ability to just play an Xbox game on any device. That really was something they were working towards. I feel like they were working towards that for years. But once the marketing kind of hit the road, I think it just didn't go over well. And we've talked about Sarah Bond here, but with Phil Spencer, I don't think Phil was the worst president Xbox ever had. I'll say that right now. And I think the news may come out later. We figure out, yeah, he was probably resisting a lot of this stupid stuff more than we realize. But Game Pass was definitely his baby. And I have to say it. Game Pass has been a scourge for Xbox. It has. The idea may have seemed great on paper, but in execution, it really has hurt the business model of Xbox long term. And it should have been cut off a while back. That's my view. That'd be my view. And yeah, that's just how I see that. Now, does a lot of this news affect me personally? I'm just going to say a little bit, because I have my Switch too. I have my gaming PC with mostly Steam library. There were some games in my Steam library that came from Xbox. So yeah, I worry about the quality of games from that studio. Can I live without them? Yeah. But do I want to see another studio just kind of drift away and turn into AI microslop? No. That'd be my biggest fear going forward. Like, will we ever eventually get a true Killer Instinct or Perfect Dark? Perfect Dark was my biggest disappointment from Microsoft this generation, hands down. The canceling of that game. The inability to get a team together to get that done. And I don't want to see games I actually want to see from Microsoft go bad. Like the quality go bad, for it to fall to AI slop. Even though they say that's not what they're going to do. You get my point. You feel like there's going to be changes in the future and influence in the future, but you question how the changes can be good with the state of Microsoft right now for not just the gaming industry, just in general in the markets. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Microsoft under CEO Satya Nadella has really pushed for the growth of AI, invested a lot in AI. He's cut departments like Xbox to free up money to invest for AI. He did give Phil Spencer the money he wanted to acquire Bethesda and then Activision, but he expected return on investment unreasonably short turnaround time, I would argue, which led to a lot of the mass layoffs that people have come to associate with Xbox and Microsoft in the last couple of years. And then you also had these announcements of, games losing their console exclusivity. And to be clear, as far as CEO of Microsoft is concerned, he seemed to have signed off on everything and liked these directions and probably was the one pushing for these directions. He's been quoted on interviews in the past saying he wanted to be where you can just play any game anywhere. And, the thought of pushing Xbox games over Azure cloud services, Game Pass over the cloud, he was all there for it. He was all there for it. Uses the same technology these AI data centers for the most part are using. So this should have been his jam. But in the end, Xbox sales have not done that well. And they've had to slash expenses, slash payroll, slash employees just to try to meet profit targets. And for a department that in the past was considered sort of a hobby thing for the corporation, if you can believe that, and generally didn't create a lot of profit. But now they expect it to make like 30% profit margins like the rest of the corporation. So I think all of that led to what happened recently. I do think, not reported, but I know I'm not the only one speculating this, I do think that maybe Nadella kept pushing these things, certain things like the use of AI to cut expenses, because he sure has been doing it everywhere else. A lot of Microsoft's cost software right now is being recoded or rewritten, or new code is being written by AI, with a smaller number of software engineers reviewing the AI's work and correcting it. I'm pretty sure Phil was under pressure to incorporate more AI and cut more jobs, and he just didn't want to do that. That'd be my guess. We'll find out more in the future. But I think there was some resistance, and this is sort of a you're not with the vision, get off the boat moment for Phil. Sarah Bond, she might have saw Asha Sharma get in this position instead of her and decided to jump off the boat too. I think that's probably what happened, because she had kind of been considered heir apparent to take over the Xbox brand if Phil ever did leave, only to be replaced by someone who kind of came from AI. So, and Matt Booty, I guess he's still just shaking his booty. I don't know. But, I never understood all the criticism he got, though I guess he was sort of complicit in the inconsistent messaging, let's say. So yeah, I'll just say I have concerns going forward. I look for AI to get at least pushed more heavily into the coding development side of Microsoft games, like the nuts and bolts coding for sure. Time will tell if more of it gets involved on the artistic side. It sounds like the new Miss Sharma is being mindful of that. We'll see. There has been a lot of engagement from her X account that some people are wondering if their AI bot answers coming out of the account. I don't know. But the biggest thing I'll say about her for fairness is you probably need to give about 6 months before you can say good job, bad job, and even then it may be hard to tell. A lot of these changes that may be coming are deep systemic changes in development that will probably take a year or two to fully realize as games get released that were impacted by it. But I will say this, if the quality of my Overwatch or anything coming out of Blizzard gets down worse than it has been, Blizzard is just now to me getting on its feet a little bit. If they impact my Blizzard games, I will be mad. I will be gone. That is basically what I had to say about this recent news. And the only other thing I can think of is, I think there will be another piece of Xbox hardware. I've seen the rumors saying it'd be more like a PC standard than a console, which that's not a new idea, honestly. If you've heard of like older PC names like MSX, original Metal Gears were on an MSX computer, which was like a standard for computers in Japan. Not really a particular brand computer or a particular computer. It was just make a computer within this range of specs that satisfies this set specs. That could be what they're doing with sort of a trimmed down Windows Lite operating system that just goes straight to Xbox mode. That could be what they're doing. Sounds like it. So we may see that. We may see how well that sells. I feel like they've totally lost touch. And that's what the problem is. But I'll leave that this episode off on that note, and this is going to be at least a 2-parter, so expect another episode concerning Xbox tomorrow, and I'll go ahead and give you the preview. What would I do if I was CEO of Xbox? Thank you all for listening. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. If you want to leave a comment, give me your take on this news. I feel like I've been kind of giving the mainstream interweb how everybody's reading this take in the end. But, feel free to, if you have a different way of looking at it, comment, or if you just want to agree with me, comment. With that, thank you all for your time. Thank you for sharing it with me. Have a good day.